Have you ever paused to watch the gentle flutter of an American lady butterfly, drifting slowly through a quiet meadow, feeling the world soften around you? In today's sleepy documentary, we will glide gently into the secret life of this delicate butterfly, discovering how it feeds, rests, transforms through its life cycle, and quietly navigates a world of subtle changes. By the end of this calming journey, you'll feel more connected to the gentle rhythms of nature, and perhaps even a little more relaxed, as if the world itself is exhaling. So make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more soothing wildlife for sleep. And let's begin this tranquil journey together. Before anyone names it, before science gives it a Latin title, before cameras learn how to follow it through the air, something fragile lifts itself from the land. It does not know it is small. It does not know it is brief. It does not know it will only borrow the sky for a short while. It only knows warmth, light, and the quiet pull of instinct guiding it forward. The American lady butterfly has no awareness of continents, no memory of history, no understanding of the world it moves through. And yet, it survives. It has survived fires, ice ages, storms, and the slow reshaping of the land by human hands. While empires rose and fell, while roads carved through meadows, while cities replaced fields, this butterfly continued, quietly, almost invisibly, doing what it has always done. In this film, we will slow down enough to notice it. We will listen to a life that makes no sound. We will follow a creature that leaves no trace behind. And in doing so, we may begin to understand how something so delicate has endured for so long, not by fighting the world, but by moving gently through it. Have you ever paused to watch the gentle flutter of an American lady butterfly, drifting slowly through a quiet meadow, feeling the world soften around you? In today's sleepy documentary, we will glide gently into the secret life of this delicate butterfly, discovering how it feeds, rests, transforms through its life cycle, and quietly navigates a world of subtle changes. By the end of this calming journey, you'll feel more connected to the gentle rhythms of nature, and perhaps even a little more relaxed, as if the world itself is exhaling. So make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more soothing wildlife for sleep. And let's begin this tranquil journey together. The life of the American lady butterfly does not begin with movement. It begins with waiting, long before wings learn the shape of air, before color ever meets sunlight. A single egg rests beneath a leaf, quiet, unnoticed, held in place by instinct older than memory. This egg is smaller than a grain of sand, pale, ribbed, standing upright like a tiny column shaped by nature itself. It is placed here deliberately, not by thought, but by a chemical awareness carried through generations. The female selects a plant that will sustain a life she will never see again, everlasting. Cudweed, pusitos, plants most people pass without noticing. In this moment, the future of the butterfly depends entirely on stillness, on temperature, on rain, on whether the leaf remains attached to the stem for just a little while longer. Inside the egg, cells divide slowly, carefully, responding to warmth and moisture. Development is not rushed. When the air is cool, time stretches. When the sun lingers, time compresses. The American lady's earliest lesson is one shared by all insects: that survival is tied to the rhythm of the environment. Scientists studying Lepidopteran development have shown that even small changes in temperature can alter the pace of embryonic growth, influencing size, strength, and eventual survival. Here, before hunger, before danger, the butterfly is already shaped by the world it will soon enter. When the egg finally opens, it does not burst, it yields, a caterpillar emerges, small, dark, almost indistinguishable from the leaf that holds it. Its first act is not exploration, but consumption. The eggshell is eaten, recycled, its nutrients reclaimed. Nothing is wasted, nothing is symbolic. This is efficiency, refined through millions of years. The caterpillar then turns to the leaf itself, feeding slowly, deliberately, guided by chemical signals that tell it where to eat and where not to. The plant responds, producing defensive compounds, a quiet chemical dialogue unfolding between plant and insect, unseen, uncelebrated, constant. The caterpillar of the American lady is not beautiful in the way humans expect beauty. Its body is dark, covered in small spines, designed not to attract attention, but to discourage it. This stage of life is devoted almost entirely to one purpose: growth. The caterpillar eats, pauses, eats again, shedding its skin as it expands beyond the limits of its former self. Each molt is a moment of vulnerability, a pause in motion, a brief exposure to the world. To reduce risk, the caterpillar often builds a shelter, pulling leaves together with silk, creating a small enclosed space where it can feed and rest. These shelters are temporary, practical, and easily overlooked, much like the creature itself. From a scientific perspective, this larval stage is the most critical period of energy accumulation. The American lady converts plant material into stored resources that will later fuel metamorphosis and flight. Research in insect physiology shows that the quality of host plants directly influences adult size, reproductive success, and lifespan. In years when plants are stressed by drought or temperature extremes, caterpillar survival declines quietly, without headlines, without notice. And yet, these small losses accumulate, reflecting broader changes in the environment. As the caterpillar approaches its final stage, feeding slows, movement becomes measured, almost cautious. The body has reached its limit. It is time to stop becoming larger and begin becoming something else. The caterpillar searches for a place to pupate, often choosing the same plant that sustained it, sometimes moving only a short distance away. When it finds a suitable spot, it anchors itself with silk, hanging downward in the familiar J shape. This posture, still exposed, is one of the most vulnerable moments in the butterfly's life. There is no escape now, only timing, camouflage, and chance. The skin splits, slowly revealing the chrysalis beneath. The chrysalis of the American lady is muted, textured, shaped like a fragment of bark or a dried leaf. Its colors blend with the background, a form sculpted by predation pressure over evolutionary time. Inside this quiet casing, the caterpillar dissolves, tissues break down, reorganize, and rebuild. This is not transformation in the poetic sense, it is reconstruction, guided by hormones like ecdysone, orchestrating a precise sequence of cellular events. Wings, eyes, antennae, and reproductive organs form from imaginal discs set aside during larval growth, structures waiting patiently for this moment. Temperature once again shapes the passage of time in warm conditions. The chrysalis stage may last just over a week. In cooler weather, it stretches longer. Throughout this period, the chrysalis remains motionless, yet internally, activity is constant. Cells divide, migrate, specialize. The energy stored during the caterpillar's life is consumed carefully, efficiently. Nothing extra remains. When emergence comes, it is quiet. The adult butterfly splits the chrysalis, pulling itself free with slow, deliberate movements. The wings are soft, folded, heavy with fluid. The butterfly clings to the empty shell as hemolymph is pumped through wing veins, expanding them to full size. This moment cannot be repeated. Damage now will last a lifetime. For hours, the butterfly remains still, allowing the wings to harden in the open air. Only when the wings are ready does the American lady release its grip and lift itself into the air for the first time. The flight is short, unsteady, a test rather than a journey, but it is enough. The transformation is complete. A life that began beneath a leaf, hidden, silent, now moves through open space, carrying with it the quiet memory of every stage that came before. Once the American lady butterfly has entered the air, its life does not suddenly become free or simple or easy. Flight is not an escape from vulnerability. It is merely a change in the shape of it. The wings that now carry the butterfly across open space are powerful, but fragile, capable of lifting the body with ease, yet easily torn by wind, rain, or a careless touch. From the very first moments of flight, survival depends on balance between movement and rest, exposure and concealment, energy spent and energy saved. The American lady's wings are not designed for long, uninterrupted journeys like those of monarch butterflies that cross continents. Instead, their flight is purposeful, measured, often low to the ground. This butterfly moves through meadows, roadsides, and open fields, following patterns shaped by food availability, weather, and instinct. Scientists studying butterfly flight behavior describe species like the American lady as opportunistic movers, capable of dispersing widely, but rarely committing to predictable migratory paths. This flexibility allows them to respond quickly to changing conditions, a valuable trait in landscapes increasingly shaped by human activity. From an evolutionary perspective, the American lady belongs to a lineage of butterflies that has survived by adapting rather than specializing. Fossil evidence, combined with genetic analysis, suggests that ancestors of the Vanessa genus spread across continents during periods of climatic fluctuation, expanding and contracting their ranges as environments shifted. Ice ages, warming periods, and changing vegetation patterns repeatedly reshaped the world, and each time, adaptable insects found ways to persist. The American lady is a living result of this history, carrying traits that favor resilience over precision, endurance over dominance. Its coloration tells part of this story. The upper side of the wings displays warm oranges, browns, and black markings, colors that absorb heat efficiently, allowing the butterfly to warm its muscles quickly in cooler conditions. This thermoregulation is critical because flight muscles require a minimum temperature to function effectively. By basking in sunlight, wings spread. The American lady can raise its body temperature enough to take off even on mild days. On the underside, the wings shift dramatically, displaying muted browns, grays, and eye-like spots, a design meant not to impress, but to deceive. These eye spots are not eyes, but signals, patterns shaped by predation pressure over millions of years. Birds, reptiles, and small mammals rely heavily on vision when hunting, and sudden flashes of eye-like shapes can confuse, intimidate, or redirect attacks away from vital body parts. Experiments with artificial butterfly models have shown that predators often strike at these spots, sparing the head and thorax, allowing the butterfly a chance to escape. The American lady's survival is written into these details, each marking a compromise between visibility and concealment. Flight itself is a carefully managed expense. Nectar, the primary fuel source for adult butterflies, provides carbohydrates needed for sustained movement, reproduction, and basic metabolism. The American lady feeds from a wide variety of flowering plants, including asters, goldenrods, milkweeds, and thistles. This generalist diet reduces dependence on any single plant species, increasing resilience in disturbed habitats, in agricultural and urban landscapes, where native plant diversity may be reduced. This flexibility allows the butterfly to persist where others decline. Field studies have shown that American ladies adjust their activity patterns based on temperature and light. On cooler mornings, they bask longer, delaying flight, conserving energy. During the heat of midday, activity may slow, reducing water loss and overheating. These daily rhythms reflect an intimate connection to environmental conditions, one that does not require awareness, only response. The butterfly does not plan, it reacts, moment by moment, guided by sensory input and instinct. Reproduction introduces another layer of complexity. After mating, females begin searching for suitable host plants, repeating the same careful selection process that shaped their own beginnings. Chemical receptors on their legs allow them to identify plant species by taste, confirming suitability before laying eggs. This behavior ensures that larvae will hatch in an environment capable of sustaining them, but it also limits where eggs can be placed, tying reproductive success to plant availability in fragmented landscapes. Where host plants are isolated or rare, this becomes a significant constraint. Scientific research into butterfly population dynamics shows that species like the American lady often experience boom and bust cycles. In favorable years, with warm temperatures and abundant plants, populations increase rapidly, spreading across large areas. In less favorable years, numbers decline, sometimes dramatically. These fluctuations are not necessarily signs of instability, but expressions of responsiveness, a strategy that allows rapid recovery when conditions improve. Yet, as climate variability increases, the extremes become more pronounced, stretching the limits of this adaptability. The American lady does not live long. Adult lifespan typically ranges from a few weeks to a couple of months, depending on environmental conditions and predation pressure. In that time, every decision matters: when to fly, when to feed, where to rest. Each pause conserves energy, each movement risks exposure. This constant negotiation shapes behavior in subtle ways, producing flight patterns that appear casual, but are finely tuned to survival. To human observers, these movements often go unnoticed. The butterfly crosses a path, hovers briefly over a flower, disappears into tall grass. It does not demand attention, and so it rarely receives it. Yet, in ecological terms, its presence contributes to pollination, genetic exchange among plants, and the broader stability of insect communities. These contributions are small, incremental, and cumulative, forming part of a system that functions precisely because no single part dominates. As we continue, we will move deeper into the hidden mechanics of the American lady's existence, exploring the physics of its wings, the chemistry of its senses, and the subtle ways it navigates a world without maps. For now, we remain with this image, a butterfly moving through open space, neither hurried nor still, carried by forces it does not understand, yet perfectly adapted to endure one quiet flight at a time. To understand how the American lady butterfly moves through the world, we must slow down even further and look closely, not at where it goes, but at how it is built. The wings that carry it across fields and roadsides appear delicate, almost translucent in sunlight, yet they are structures of remarkable engineering, shaped by physics, biology, and time. Each wing is covered in thousands of microscopic scales, layered like shingles on a roof, overlapping, precise, fragile, and strong in their collective design. These scales are not decoration. They are the source of color, temperature control, and aerodynamic efficiency. Under magnification, the orange and brown hues of the American lady are revealed not as pigments alone, but as interactions between light and structure. Tiny ridges on each scale bend, scatter, and absorb light, producing color through physical processes as much as chemical ones. This structural coloration allows the butterfly to maintain its appearance even as pigments fade, a subtle advantage over time. The veins that run through the wings form a branching network, delivering hemolymph, structural support, and sensory information. These veins are not random. They follow patterns conserved across butterfly species, reflecting evolutionary constraints and functional needs. Aerodynamic studies using high-speed cameras have shown that butterflies like the American lady rely on a combination of lift and drag, flapping their wings in a figure-8 motion, creating vortices that help keep them aloft even at low speeds. Flight here is not brute force. It is finesse. Muscles within the thorax power this movement, contracting rhythmically, fueled by sugars derived from nectar. Unlike mammals, butterflies do not generate heat internally at rest. Instead, they depend on environmental warmth, using their wings as solar panels to raise muscle temperature before flight. This reliance on external heat ties them intimately to sunlight, cloud cover, and daily temperature cycles. When skies darken, movement slows, and stillness becomes strategy. The sensory world of the American lady is equally refined. Its compound eyes are made up of thousands of individual lenses, each capturing a fragment of the visual field. This mosaic vision is particularly sensitive to motion, allowing the butterfly to detect predators and moving flowers. Even if fine detail remains blurred, research has shown that butterflies can perceive ultraviolet patterns on flowers, invisible to humans, guiding them toward nectar sources with remarkable accuracy. Antennae play a different role. They are not simply decorative appendages, but complex sensory organs, detecting chemical cues, wind direction, and even time of day. Experiments disrupting antennae function have demonstrated their importance in orientation and daily rhythm regulation. Without them, butterflies become disoriented, losing the subtle cues that guide behavior. The American lady's navigation does not rely on maps, but on gradients, scents, light angles, and internal clocks, working together quietly, constantly. The proboscis, long, flexible, and coiled beneath the head when not in use, is another example of elegant efficiency. This feeding tube allows the butterfly to access nectar deep within flowers. While avoiding contact with pollen structures that could impede movement, muscles and fluid pressure extend and retract the proboscis with precision, enabling rapid feeding when flowers are abundant and conservation when they are scarce. Scientific studies of butterfly feeding behavior reveal that nectar concentration influences visit duration and frequency. The American lady adjusts its feeding strategy based on reward, spending more time at flowers that provide higher sugar content, a behavior that maximizes energy intake while minimizing exposure to predators. Even here, a choice exists, not conscious, but shaped by evolutionary feedback. The body of the butterfly is covered in fine hairs, often overlooked, yet essential. These hairs aid in temperature regulation, sensory perception, and pollen transfer. They trap air, providing insulation, and detect subtle changes in airflow, alerting the butterfly to nearby movement. Nothing is extraneous. Each feature carries purpose, refined through countless generations. From a broader scientific perspective, studying the anatomy of butterflies like the American lady offers insights into biomechanics, materials science, and sensory integration. Engineers have modeled wing structures to design lightweight aircraft components, while neuroscientists study insect sensory systems to understand efficient information processing. The butterfly becomes not just a subject, but a teacher, quietly influencing human innovation without ever knowing it exists. As the American lady moves through its environment, every structure participates: wings, eyes, antennae, muscles, scales, all working together in continuous negotiation with air, light, and gravity. This coordination does not require awareness, only alignment. The butterfly does not understand its own complexity, and yet it embodies it completely. In the next chapter, we will follow these finely tuned systems beyond the immediate landscape, exploring how the American lady moves across regions, responds to seasons, and navigates change without memory, without maps, and without certainty. For now, we remain with the body itself, a quiet marvel of adaptation, floating briefly, lightly, through the open-air. Movement across space defines much of the American lady butterfly's adult life. Yet this movement is often misunderstood. It is not migration in the dramatic sense, not a single, purposeful journey with a known destination. Instead, it is dispersal, gradual, responsive, shaped by weather, vegetation, and opportunity. The American lady does not carry an internal map of the continent. It does not remember where it came from or plan where it will go, and yet, over time, populations expand northward in spring, retreat southward in autumn, tracing invisible pathways written by temperature and plant growth. Scientists studying butterfly movement describe this pattern as seasonal range shifting, rather than true migration. In warmer months, American ladies appear farther north, sometimes in large numbers, taking advantage of newly available host plants and nectar sources. As temperatures drop, reproduction slows, survival declines, and the population contracts, not because individuals turn around, but because the next generation emerges elsewhere, closer to conditions that favor development. The movement belongs not to the butterfly, but to the species, unfolding across generations. This strategy depends on timing. Eggs must be laid where larvae can develop before cold arrives. Adults must emerge when flowers are available. Too early, and frost kills growth. Too late, and resources disappear. Climate data paired with long-term butterfly surveys show that shifts in temperature directly influence how far North American ladies are observed each year. Warmer springs allow earlier expansion. Cooler summers limit spread. The butterfly responds without awareness, adjusting distribution simply by surviving where conditions permit. Wind plays a subtle but important role. Light-bodied insects like butterflies are often carried farther than they intend, especially during storms or strong prevailing winds. Radar studies and atmospheric modeling have revealed that many insects travel significant distances unintentionally, lifted by warm air currents, drifting overnight, descending miles from where they began. For the American lady, these accidental journeys can introduce populations to new areas, sometimes favorable, sometimes not. Success depends entirely on what they find when they land. Unlike species that overwinter as adults, the American lady typically does not survive freezing temperatures. Instead, it persists through movement, recolonizing regions each year through successive generations. This makes the species especially sensitive to changes in climate timing. If warming causes plants to bloom earlier, but butterfly emergence does not shift at the same pace, mismatches occur, reducing reproductive success. These phenological mismatches are increasingly studied as indicators of climate disruption, with butterflies serving as early warning signals. Navigation in this context does not require direction, only response. Light intensity, day length, temperature, and plant chemistry all influence behavior. As days short, hormonal changes reduce reproductive drive, feeding patterns shift, and activity decreases. The butterfly is not deciding to leave. It is responding to signals that survival elsewhere may be more likely. This form of navigation is decentralized, distributed across physiology, rather than housed in a single guiding mechanism. Field observations show that American ladies often follow linear features in the landscape. Hedgerows, roadsides, riverbanks, areas where flowering plants persist. These corridors act as guides, not because the butterfly recognizes them, but because they provide continuous resources in fragmented environments. Such corridors become critical, allowing movement between isolated patches of habitat. Without them, dispersal slows, populations fragment, and local extinctions become more likely. From a real-world perspective, many people encounter American ladies during sudden population increases, sometimes called eruptions, when large numbers appear seemingly overnight. These events are often linked to favorable weather patterns, high rainfall, and abundant plant growth in source regions. The butterflies spread outward, filling available space, then gradually thinning as conditions change. Such appearances feel dramatic, but they are simply the visible edge of a much larger process, unfolding quietly over time. Scientific tracking of individual butterflies remains challenging. Their small size and short lifespan limit tagging options. However, advances in genetic analysis allow researchers to infer movement patterns by comparing populations across regions. Shared genetic markers suggest connectivity, revealing how genes flow through landscapes. Even when individual paths remain unknown, the American lady emerges from these studies not as a wanderer, but as a participant in a slow, distributed expansion, driven by opportunity rather than intention. As seasons pass, each generation lives and dies without knowledge of the larger pattern. Yet, together, they trace a rhythm across the continent, expanding, contracting, responding, adapting. This rhythm has no single beginning and no clear end. It exists as long as conditions allow, shaped by forces larger than any individual butterfly. In the next chapter, we will turn from movement across space to movement across time, following the American lady through its full life cycle again, not as a biological outline, but as a lived sequence of risks, delays, and narrow chances. For now, we remain with this quiet motion, a species carried forward, generation by generation, by nothing more than warmth, wind, and the persistent availability of a leaf. Time moves differently for the American lady butterfly, not measured hours or days, but in conditions, warmth, moisture, availability, and absence. Its life is not experienced as a continuous story, but as a sequence of states, each one entered only if the previous has been survived. The egg does not anticipate the caterpillar. The caterpillar does not imagine the butterfly. Each stage exists fully, briefly, and without awareness of what comes next. This is not a life driven by expectation. It is a life shaped entirely by presence. From the outside, the life cycle of the American lady appears orderly, almost predictable: egg, larva, chrysalis, adult, repeated again and again across seasons. But within this apparent structure, uncertainty dominates. At every stage, survival depends on narrow margins. A sudden rainstorm can wash eggs from leaves. A heat wave can dry host plants beyond usefulness. A bird can end a life in a single movement. The cycle continues, not because it is guaranteed, but because enough individuals pass through again and again and again. In the larval stage, time is spent almost entirely in feeding. Yet even this simplicity is fragile. The caterpillar must eat enough, but not too openly, must grow quickly, but not expose itself unnecessarily, must remain on suitable plants while avoiding predators that search visually, chemically, and by chance. Research on caterpillar behavior shows that feeding often occurs at night or during low light, reducing visibility, while daytime is spent resting, concealed within folded leaves. This rhythm is not learned, it is inherited, shaped by generations of survival and loss. As the caterpillar grows, each molt represents both progress and danger. The old skin splits, the new one soft and exposed. During these moments, the caterpillar cannot flee, cannot defend itself. It must remain still, trusting that concealment and timing are enough. Many do not survive this pause. Predators, parasites, and pathogens take advantage of these vulnerabilities. Parasitoid wasps, for example, lay eggs inside caterpillars, their larvae consuming the host from within. The American lady's life is shaped as much by unseen internal threats as by visible ones. And the caterpillar finally becomes a chrysalis. Time enters a strange state, outwardly motionless, inwardly intense. The breakdown and reconstruction of tissues is one of the most energy-demanding processes in the insect world. Metabolic rates shift, hormones spike, cells follow instructions encoded long before this individual existed. Scientific studies of metamorphosis reveal precise timing mechanisms, ensuring that structures form in correct sequence. Any disruption, temperature extremes, chemical exposure, physical damage can derail the process, resulting in deformity or death. The chrysalis stage is also a test of patience. for the world around it. Birds learn to recognize certain shapes. Rodents explore surfaces. Weather erodes exposed structures. The American lady's camouflage reduces risk, but does not eliminate it. Survival here is probabilistic, not assured, and yet, enough chrysalids endure, releasing adults into the air, continuing the cycle quietly, persistently. Once emerged, the adult butterfly enters the most mobile and most exposed phase of life. Flight offers escape, but also visibility. Feeding requires landing, slowing down, becoming briefly still. Every flower visit is a calculated risk. Studies of butterfly predation show that many adults are taken during feeding, when attention is focused and wings are open. The American lady balances this by moving frequently, feeding briefly, and avoiding prolonged exposure. These patterns appear casual, but are shaped by selection, not choice. Reproduction compresses time even further. Adults must mate, locate host plants, and lay eggs before age, damage, or depletion of resources ends the opportunity. Unlike mammals, butterflies do not invest in parental care. Survival of offspring depends entirely on placement, on choosing the right leaf, at the right time, under the right conditions. This makes reproduction a high-stakes event, with outcomes visible only in the next generation. Real-world observation reveals how easily this cycle can be interrupted. Urban development removes host plants. Pesticide use reduces larval survival. Climate shifts alter timing, causing eggs to hatch when plants are no longer suitable. Long-term monitoring programs have documented declines in many butterfly species linked to these pressures. The American lady has proven more resilient than some, but not immune. Its continued presence reflects adaptability, not invulnerability. Time, for this butterfly, is not a line, it is a loop, repeating, adjusting, responding. The cycle continues not because it is perfect, but because it is flexible, able to absorb loss, and still produce enough survivors to persist. This is the quiet mathematics of survival, not dramatic, not heroic, but effective. As we move forward, we will begin to examine the pressures that increasingly shape this cycle. Forces beyond weather and predators, forces introduced by human activity, altering landscapes, chemistry, and time itself. For now, we remain with the life cycle, not as a diagram, but as a lived process, fragile, repetitive, and remarkably enduring, unfolding, one generation at a time. Danger is not an interruption in the life of the American lady butterfly. It is the background. From the moment an egg is placed beneath a leaf, a risk surrounds it. Waiting, patient, indifferent, survival is never assumed. It is negotiated, second by second, through stillness, concealment, timing, and chance. The butterfly does not experience fear as humans do, but its entire existence is shaped by pressures that remove the careless, the slow, the unlucky, leaving behind only those whose behaviors align closely enough with survival. Predation begins early. Eggs are consumed by ants, beetles, spiders. Often before they ever open, caterpillars are taken by birds, lizards, small mammals, and insects that specialize in hunting other insects. The spines along the caterpillar's body offer limited defense, more deterrent than protection, making handling unpleasant, but not impossible. Their true defense lies in being unnoticed, feeding at low light, remaining still for long periods, blending with the texture of the plant. Many caterpillars survive not because they are strong, but because they are missed. Some threats come from within parasitoid insects, especially certain wasps and flies, locate caterpillars using chemical cues, laying eggs inside their bodies. The developing parasitoids feed internally, slowly, consuming vital tissues while keeping the host alive long enough to sustain them. For the American lady, parasitism rates can be significant, especially in dense populations. Studies have shown that in some regions, a substantial percentage of caterpillars never reach pupation because of these internal predators. This loss is silent, invisible, yet deeply influential in shaping population size. The chrysalis stage offers no escape from danger. Birds peck at unfamiliar shapes. Rodents investigate surfaces. Weather exposes hidden forms. A sudden storm can knock a chrysalis loose, dropping it to the ground where survival becomes unlikely. The American lady's camouflage improves odds, but does not guarantee safety. Each chrysalis that remains intact is the result of alignment between placement, appearance, and luck. Adults face a different set of risks. Flight reduces vulnerability, but increases visibility. Bright colors attract mates, but also attention. The American lady's pattern balances these demands, presenting warmth and contrast when wings are open, concealment when closed. Field experiments using artificial butterflies have demonstrated that individuals with more contrasting patterns suffer higher predation in some environments, highlighting the trade-offs inherent in appearance. The American lady occupies a middle ground, visible enough to function, subtle enough to endure. Weather itself becomes a predator. Strong winds tear wings. Heavy rain forces butterflies to the ground. Extended heat increases dehydration risk. Because butterflies cannot repair wing damage, each encounter with harsh conditions shortens functional lifespan. Individuals with torn wings fly less efficiently, feed less successfully, and reproduce less over time. This selects for behaviors that minimize exposure: early feeding, midday rest, sheltering during storms, patterns. Repeated without awareness, but reinforced through survival. Human activity introduces additional hazards. Roads fragment habitat. Vehicles create lethal airflow disturbances. Pesticide drift contaminates host plants. Urban lighting disrupts daily rhythms. Research on insect decline has linked widespread chemical use to reduced larval survival. Even when adults appear abundant, the American lady's adaptability allows it to persist in disturbed landscapes. But persistence does not mean absence of cost. Each generation absorbs losses that were not present before, adjusting, narrowing margins, enduring quietly. Yet, despite these pressures, the American lady remains present, not everywhere, not always, but reliably enough to suggest a strategy that works. This strategy is not resistance. It is accommodation. The butterfly does not confront danger. It moves around it, waits it out, or simply produces enough offspring that some will pass through. This is not resilience as humans imagine it. It is persistence without intent, a statistical triumph rather than a heroic one. In ecological systems, such persistence matters. The American lady occupies a role modest, replaceable in isolation, but meaningful in aggregate. It pollinates. It feeds predators. It supports parasites. It exists within a web that depends not on any single strand, but on many overlapping ones. When strands weaken, the web holds. Until too many fail, the butterfly's continued presence signals that, for now, enough still remain. As we continue, we will shift our focus from immediate dangers to slower, broader forces, the gradual reshaping of seasons, climates, and landscapes, pressures that act not in moments, but across years and decades. For now, we stay with danger, not as an event, but as a constant companion, moving quietly alongside the American lady through every stage of its fragile, enduring life. Tools change does not arrive suddenly for the American lady butterfly. It seeps in. Slowly, quietly, altering the conditions that once felt dependable. Seasons shift by degrees, not declarations, and the butterfly responds without understanding, adjusting its timing, its range, its chances. One generation at a time, climate is not experienced as data or trend or theory. It is felt as warmth that arrives earlier, cold that lingers longer, rain that comes too fast or not at all. And within these shifts, the narrow windows of survival stretch, contract, or close entirely. For insects whose lives are measured in weeks, timing is everything. The American lady depends on synchronization, eggs hatching when host plants are tender, adults emerging when flowers bloom, larvae growing before heat dries leaves. Even small mismatches can ripple outward, reducing survival without dramatic signs. Long-term ecological studies have shown that many butterfly species now emerge earlier in spring than they did decades ago, tracking temperature increases. Yet, plant responses do not always align at the same pace, creating gaps between need and availability. The American lady navigates these gaps not by choice, but by attrition. Those born at the wrong time simply do not persist. Geographic range offers temporary relief, as conditions warm. American ladies appear farther north, occupying regions once limited by cold. This expansion can look like success, even abundance, but range shifts come with costs, unfamiliar predators, altered plant communities, fragmented habitats. What appears as movement is often redistribution, not growth. Climate models suggest that while some species may expand initially, long-term stability depends on continuous corridors of suitable habitat. Without them, expansion becomes isolation, and isolation becomes risk. Rain patterns introduce another layer of uncertainty. Caterpillars rely on leaves that are neither too dry nor too waterlogged. Excessive rainfall increases fungal growth, promoting disease, while drought reduces plant quality, diminishing nutritional value. Studies on larval performance show that water-stressed plants can slow growth, extend vulnerable stages, and reduce adult size. Smaller adults produce fewer eggs, shortening the future before it begins. These effects compound quietly, generation after generation, without obvious cause. Temperature extremes test physiological limits. Heat increases metabolic demand, requiring more feeding. Yet feeding increases exposure to predators. Cold slows development, extending vulnerable stages. The American lady's adaptability allows some buffering, behavioral adjustments, altered timing, but thresholds remain beyond certain limits. Survival drops sharply. Climate variability, not just gradual warming, increases the frequency of these threshold events. Challenging systems built on predictability, even flexible ones. Human observation often misses these changes. Because butterflies still appear, flowers still bloom, life continues. But abundance fluctuates, distributions shift, and the quiet losses accumulate. Monitoring programs such as long-term butterfly counts reveal patterns invisible at short scales. declines masked by occasional surges, stability that hides fragility. The American lady's presence in these datasets reflects resilience, but also serves as a measure, showing how much change a system can absorb before it begins to fail. Adaptation does not occur within a lifetime. It unfolds across generations through differential survival. Traits that align slightly better with new conditions persist, others fade. This process is slow, constrained, and dependent on genetic diversity. Populations already reduced by habitat loss, pesticide exposure, or fragmentation have less capacity to adapt. The American lady's wide distribution helps, but does not immunize. Evolution can respond only to what remains, not to what has already been lost. There is no alarm bell, no moment when the butterfly knows the world has changed. It continues to lay eggs, to feed, to fly, responding to conditions as they are, not as they were or might become. This is both its strength and its vulnerability. The American lady survives by living fully in the present, but the future is shaped by trends beyond perception, accumulating quietly, steadily, shaping outcomes long before they are noticed. As we move forward, we will turn from climate and season to a different kind of influence, one created deliberately, rather than incidentally. The presence of humans, our landscapes, our chemicals, our choices, and the ways they intersect with a life so small and so easily overlooked. For now, we remain with change, not as catastrophe, but as constant, moving slowly, persistently. Through the world the American lady calls home. Human presence enters the life of the American lady butterfly without intention, without awareness, and often without notice. Roads are built, fields are cleared, lawns are planted, crops are treated, lights are switched on at night. And through all of this, the butterfly continues to move, adapting where it can, disappearing where it cannot. The influence of humans is not experienced as a single force, but as a mosaic of small changes, layered over time, altering the landscape in ways that are easy to ignore, but difficult to escape. Habitat loss is the most immediate of these changes. Native plants are removed, replaced with uniform grasses, pavement, or ornamental species that offer little value to insects. For a butterfly whose reproduction depends on specific host plants, absence is absolute. Eggs laid on unsuitable plants do not survive. Caterpillars without the correct leaves do not adapt. They simply starve. This creates invisible gaps in the landscape, places that look green but are functional. Empty. Studies of urban and suburban environments have shown that insect diversity declines sharply as plant variety decreases, even when overall vegetation cover appears high. Agricultural practices intensify this effect. Large-scale monocultures reduce plant diversity, while pesticide use introduces chemicals designed to kill insects, often without discrimination, even when not applied directly to host plants. These substances drift, settle on leaves, persist in soil, and enter food webs. Research has linked exposure to common agricultural chemicals with reduced caterpillar survival, impaired development, and decreased adult fertility. The American lady's generalist feeding habits offer some protection, but not immunity. Each exposure narrows margins, weakening populations quietly over time. Urban environments present a different challenge. Artificial lighting alters nighttime conditions, disrupting daily rhythms, drawing insects into exposed spaces, increasing predation risk. Heat islands raise local temperatures, changing developmental timing. sometimes accelerating life cycles beyond optimal limits. Roads fragment habitat, turning short flights into dangerous crossings. Vehicles create turbulence, physical impact, and chemical pollution. Studies of roadside. Insect populations reveal consistent declines. Even in areas where vegetation remains, the space is present, but the risk is too high. Yet, within human-altered landscapes, opportunities also emerge. Gardens planted with native flowers, unmanaged verges, abandoned lots, and restoration projects create pockets of suitable habitat. The American lady often appears in these spaces, drawn to nectar sources, host plants, and reduced disturbance. Citizen science programs have documented butterflies using these fragmented habitats as stepping stones, moving between isolated patches, maintaining connectivity. Even when continuity is broken, this adaptability does not erase loss, but it demonstrates potential, where human choices align with ecological needs. The relationship between humans and butterflies is often symbolic. Butterflies represent beauty, transformation, fragility. They are noticed, admired, photographed. Yet, admiration does not always translate into support. Lawns remain chemically treated, native plants remain rare, and small decisions accumulate into large effects. Conservation science increasingly emphasizes that widespread species like the American lady matter, not because they are rare, but because their decline signals broader system failure. They are early indicators, not expendable background. Education and awareness shape outcomes slowly. Programs encouraging native planting, reduced pesticide use, and habitat corridors show measurable benefits. In areas where host plants are restored, American lady populations respond quickly, increasing egg laying, improving larval survival. These responses highlight a critical truth. The butterfly's decline is not inevitable. It reflects conditions, not destiny. Given suitable environments, it persists quietly, effectively, doing what it has always done. Human time moves fast. Infrastructure changes in years, policies shift in months, technology advances in days, butterfly time moves in generations, responding gradually, revealing consequences long after decisions are made. This mismatch creates the illusion that systems are stable until thresholds are crossed and recovery becomes difficult. The American lady exists at this intersection, absorbing change, signaling stress, responding without complaint or resistance. As we move toward the later chapters, we will consider what this butterfly represents beyond itself, how studying its persistence informs broader ecological understanding, and why paying attention to the ordinary, the common, the easily overlooked, may be more important than protecting only the rare. For now, we stay with the human landscape, complex, fragmented, and still capable of supporting life, if allowed to do so. To study the American lady butterfly is to study patience, because nothing about its story reveals itself quickly. Scientific understanding does not arrive in moments of discovery, but in years of quiet observation, repeated measurements, careful comparisons, and long stretches of waiting. The butterfly does not behave differently because it is being studied. It does not respond to curiosity. It simply continues, and science must learn to move at its pace. Much of what we know about the American lady comes not from dramatic experiments, but from accumulation, field surveys, mark and recapture studies, larval monitoring, and genetic sampling build a picture slowly. Across decades, early naturalists recorded sightings in handwritten journals, noting seasonal appearances, preferred plants, subtle variations in pattern. These records, once considered anecdotal, now form the foundation of modern analysis, allowing researchers to compare past and present, detect shifts, and understand long-term trends. The butterfly becomes a data point, repeated, multiplied, and meaningful only through context. Modern research tools refine this picture. High-resolution imaging reveals wing scale structure. Spectrometry measures how light interacts with color. Genetic sequencing uncovers relationships between populations separated by thousands of kilometers. These methods confirm what observations suggested, that the American lady is highly connected, genetically diverse, and capable of rapid response to environmental change. But they also reveal constraints, limited dispersal between isolated habitats, reduced diversity in fragmented regions, signals of stress that do not appear in casual observation. Larval studies provide some of the clearest insights by tracking caterpillar survival on different host plants. Scientists can measure how plant chemistry influences development, growth rate, and resistance to disease. Results consistently show that native host plants support higher survival, faster development, and healthier adults. This reinforces conservation principles grounded not in symbolism, but in measurable outcomes. Plant diversity matters, not abstractly, but directly, influencing which lives continue and which do not. Climate research integrates butterfly data as biological indicators because insects respond quickly to temperature. Shifts in emergence timing, range boundaries, and population size provide early signals of broader environmental change. The American lady appears frequently in these data sets, not because it is dramatic, but because it is widespread. Its movements reflect patterns affecting many other species, making it a useful proxy, a messenger without awareness, carrying information across landscapes, one wingbeat at a time. Citizen science has expanded this knowledge dramatically. Programs that invite the public to record butterfly sightings have generated millions of data points, increasing spatial and temporal coverage beyond what professional researchers alone could achieve. While individual observations may be imprecise, their volume reveals patterns, seasonal waves, regional absences, sudden increases. The American lady benefits from being recognizable, common enough to be seen, distinctive enough to be identified. These qualities make it visible in data, even when it remains invisible in daily life. Laboratory research complements fieldwork. Studies on metabolism, sensory processing, and development explore mechanisms underlying observed behavior. Controlled experiments isolate variables, temperature, diet, light, revealing thresholds and responses. Such work shows, for example, how heat stress alters hormone levels, affecting metamorphosis timing, or how exposure to certain chemicals impairs navigation. These findings connect environmental chain to biological consequence, translating abstract pressures into measurable effects. Yet, despite advances, much remains unknown: the fine-scale movement of individuals, the full complexity of sensory perception, the interactions between genetics and environment. These gaps are not failures, they are reminders of scale. The butterfly's world is small, intricate, and layered. Understanding it requires humility, acceptance of uncertainty, and respect for processes that resist simplification. Science does not save the American lady, it describes it, explains it, and reveals the conditions under which it persists. What follows from that knowledge is a human choice to adjust practices, restore habitat, or continue unchanged. The butterfly will respond either way, without awareness, without protest, continuing to live where it can, disappearing where it cannot. Science illuminates, but it does not intervene. As we approach the final chapters, we will shift from understanding to reflection, from measurement to meaning, considering what the American lady's quiet persistence tells us, not just about insects, but about resilience, attention, and the value of noticing what remains. For now, we remain with science, careful, methodical, and slow, learning to listen to a life that speaks only through patterns. Over time, when we speak of conservation, the conversation often centers on urgency, crisis, and loss. But for the American lady butterfly, conservation unfolds quietly, without campaigns, without banners, and without a single moment that demands attention. Its story is not one of sudden collapse, but of gradual narrowing, margins thinning, opportunities shrinking, while life continues on the surface, appearing unchanged. This quiet erosion is more difficult to recognize, and therefore more difficult to respond to. Unlike rare species, whose absence is immediately felt, widespread butterflies decline invisibly. Their numbers fluctuate, masking long-term trends. A year of abundance follows a year of scarcity, giving the impression of balance. Yet, long-term datasets reveal a different pattern, baseline numbers drifting downward. Recovery peaks lower than before, stability giving way to fragility. The American lady exists within this pattern, not immune, but buffered by flexibility, surviving where others fade, at least for now. Conservation research emphasizes that resilience is not permanence. It is the ability to recover, not the guarantee of survival. The American lady recovers quickly when conditions improve. Host plants return, chemicals decrease, corridors reopen, but recovery depends on thresholds. Cross them, and resilience becomes irrelevant. Habitat too fragmented, climate too erratic, chemical exposure too constant, and the system shifts, not dramatically, but irreversibly. Restoration efforts demonstrate what is possible: native plant gardens, unmanaged roadside verges, prairie restoration projects, all show increased butterfly presence. Often within a single season, the American lady responds quickly, laying eggs, feeding, dispersing. These responses are measurable, repeatable, and hopeful. They suggest that decline is not destiny, but consequence, reversible when causes are addressed. Yet, such efforts remain localized, scattered, insufficient to counter large-scale pressures without broader chain. Policy intersects with ecology in indirect ways: agricultural regulations, urban planning, chemical approvals, land use incentives. Each decision influences landscapes, often without reference to insects. Conservation science struggles here because impacts are diffuse, delayed, and difficult to attribute. The American lady becomes evidence, a signal species reflecting cumulative effects, rather than single causes. Its decline would not point to one failure, but to many small ones, layered over time. Public perception shapes outcomes subtly. Butterflies inspire affection, but often as decoration, not as participants in systems. Conservation messaging focused on rarity may overlook common species until they are no longer common. At that point, recovery becomes far more difficult. The American lady challenges this mindset, reminding us that abundance is not a resource to be spent, but a condition to be maintained. Quiet persistence deserves attention precisely because it can disappear unnoticed. Scientific projections suggest mixed futures. Some models indicate temporary stability, others forecast decline under continued warming and land use change. Outcomes vary by region, depending on plant diversity, habitat connectivity, and chemical exposure. There is no single trajectory, only scenarios, shaped by choices made far from any butterfly in offices, fields, and cities. The American lady will not recognize these decisions, but it will live with them, generation after generation, until it cannot. As we move toward the end of this documentary, the focus shifts again, away from systems and policies, and back toward meaning. What does it matter if a common butterfly fades? What is lost when something ordinary disappears? Without ceremony, for answers, we return to the quiet, to the small, to the overlooked, where the American lady has always lived, continuing, until it no longer can. When something common disappears, it does so without ceremony. There is no final sighting, no announcement, no shared moment of realization. The American lady butterfly would not vanish in a way that demands attention. It would simply arrive less often, linger more briefly, until one season, someone notices that it did not come at all. This is the quiet danger of ordinariness. Its loss feels hypothetical until it becomes permanent. The value of the American lady is not found in rarity, but in continuity. It represents a thread that runs through generations, landscapes, and memories. Children see it without knowing its name. Gardeners recognize it without studying it. Farmers notice it without counting it. It exists as background life, steady, familiar, and therefore easy to overlook, yet ecological systems rely on such background species, not as stars, but as structure. Remove enough of them, and the system does not collapse dramatically. It thins, frays, and eventually fails. From a scientific perspective, common species contribute disproportionately to ecosystem function. They pollinate, recycle nutrients, support predators, and buffer systems against disturbance. Studies show that ecosystems dominated by a few abundant species are more stable than those reliant on many rare ones. The American lady's role is modest, but multiplied across landscapes. Its contribution becomes significant. When abundance declines, the loss is not one butterfly, but millions of interactions that never occur, flowers unfertilized, predators unfed, processes slowed. There is also a psychological dimension. Humans form attachments not only to what is extraordinary, but to what is familiar. The disappearance of a common butterfly alters how landscapes feel. Even if the change is hard to articulate, fields become quieter, less animated. The sense of seasonal rhythm weakens. These shifts affect perception, connection, and memory. The American lady is woven into these experiences, not as a focal point, but as texture. Its absence would not be mourned loudly, but it would be felt subtly, persistently. Hope, in this context, does not arrive as optimism. It arrives as possibility, grounded in evidence. The American lady responds to restoration, to reduced chemical use, to native planting. These responses are immediate, measurable, and repeatable. They suggest that systems retain capacity, even after pressure, even after loss. The butterfly does not need grand interventions. It needs space, plants, and time, these are not abstract requirements. They are tangible, achievable, and often compatible with human use. When priorities align, attention becomes the central act. To notice the American lady, to recognize its presence, to understand what supports it, is to participate in conservation without slogans. Awareness reshapes behavior subtly: a plant chosen, a chemical avoided, a space left unmanaged. These actions rarely feel consequential, but they accumulate, shaping landscapes just as surely as roads and buildings do. The butterfly responds not to intent, but to outcome. It persists where conditions allow, regardless of why they exist. In this way, the American lady becomes a mirror, reflecting the balance between use and allowance, between control and coexistence. It does not demand protection. It does not resist change. It simply reveals, over time, what our landscapes have become capable of supporting. To lose it would be to accept a narrowing of possibility, a reduction in what the world can hold, without ever naming the choice. As we approach the final moments, we return once more to stillness, to the individual butterfly, moving through a field unaware of meaning, unaware of consequence, living only the moment it occupies, carrying forward a lineage shaped by chance, endurance, and quiet alignment with the world as it is. The ending does not arrive with resolution. It arrives with continuation or absence, depending on what remains. At the edge of a field, where grasses meet open air, an American lady butterfly settles on a flower, wings open, then close, catching light, then blending into shadow. This moment is complete in itself. It does not reference the past or anticipate the future. It exists. And then it passes, the butterfly feeds, lifts, drifts onward, and the field remains, changed only by what has touched it, briefly, lightly, and without trace. This is how the American lady has always lived, entering, exiting, never lingering long enough to leave a mark, and yet, over time, these moments accumulate, shaping ecosystems, sustaining connections, forming the quiet background against which louder lives unfold. The butterfly does not know it is part of something larger, but it is. It belongs to cycles that predate human memory and will continue only as long as conditions allow. The science tells us how, the data tells us where, the patterns tell us when, but meaning arises elsewhere, in attention, in noticing what continues without demand. The American lady asks nothing, offers no warning, and gives no explanation. It persists, or it does not, responding only to what the world provides. This simplicity is not weakness. It is clarity, a life aligned completely with its environment, unburdened by expectation, sustained by fit rather than force. As this documentary draws to a close, there is no conclusion to announce, no lesson to declare. The American lady will continue to appear in some places, at some times, quietly, as it always has, or it will not, and that difference, subtle at first, will tell a story far larger than this one, about the landscapes we shape, the choices we make, and the space we leave for lives that move gently through the world without asking to be seen. The field grows still again, light shifts, wind moves through grasses. Somewhere, another egg rests beneath a leaf, waiting. The cycle prepares to begin or to end, depending entirely on what remains.